right, welcome back to another OST review session. Today we are talking about standard 7.NS.2. Again, talking about number sense. Let's jump right in. Question 1 from the Ohio Practice OST. An inequality is given where R is a positive rational number. They give you R times Q over R is greater than 0, which inequality must also be true. Well, let's think about something, okay? Let's go back to equation solving. And if you haven't watched the equation solving videos yet, those would be the standards that have EE in them, like 7EE1 or 7EE2. Let's talk about what this means. Let's say you're given the equation 4x equals 12. And we talk about how do you solve this. You would want to get x by itself, right? So to get x by itself, we would have to get rid of the 4 by doing the opposite of what we have here. Okay? So we would do the opposite. We would divide by 4. We would divide both sides by 4. So now take a look at what this is. Let's take out 4 and replace it with r. And let's take out x and replace it with q. This becomes rq divided by r is equal to 12 over r. Okay? This looks an awful lot like this because it is the same thing. In this situation, when we do 4x divided by 4, the 4's cancel out, and you're just left with x equals something. So in this same situation, the r and r would cancel out, and you're left with q is equal to something. So here, if all this is less than 0, then that means that if you get rid of the r and r, you're just left with q is less than 0. And that's your answer. Question 2, no calculator. A fraction is shown. What number is equivalent to the fraction? Okay. Here's a trick that I've picked up over my years of doing math. Okay. If you are dividing, or if you have a fraction of 9 or 11, then to solve for that, all you need to do is multiply the numerator by whatever the other number is, and then move the decimal over. So for example, 5 over 9 is the same as 5 times 11, and you just repeat it forever after a decimal. 5 times 11 is 55, and it would just repeat with 55, 55, 55, 55, 55. In the last video, we had 8 over 11. That you would do the same as 8 times 9. Which is 72. Move the decimal over 2 spots, and then repeat it. 72, 72, 72, 72, 72. That's a little trick, but it only works with 9s and 11s. Remember that 9s pair with 11s, just multiply by the other, and then put the decimal out in front of it. Or we could do it by long division. So remember when you do long division with these, your denominator is your divisor. Your numerator is your dividend. We don't see 9 going into 5 here, so we have to add a decimal point and put a 0. Make sure you add the decimal point up top as well. 9 goes into 50 5 times. 9 times 5 is 45. And that leaves us with 5. You can already see where this is going. Bring it down. Oh wow, look, we're back at 9 divided by 50. It's just going to be 0.5, repeating. It's just going to be 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Okay. This would be 5. And then 9 times 5. Oh, what's that? Oh, wow, look at that. It's 45. Who would have guessed? And then you do 50 minus 45. And, oh, hey, wow, look, we're back at 5. And it's 50 again. How many times is 9 going to 50? Oh, what's that? It's 5. 9 times 5 is 45. And, oh, hey, you see where I'm going with this. It's just going to repeat 5s forever. How do we write a repeating 5? That's where you put the bar above it. So it would be choice B. All right. Question 3, Spring 2017 OST, no calculator. An expression is shown. What is the value of the expression? So all you're realistically doing is distributing. You're distributing this 2 to the negative 5.25. So let's do negative 5.25 times 2. And if you don't remember how to multiply by decimals, here is your crash course review. You treat it like any other multiplication problem at first. 2 times 5 is 10, so you put 0, and you carry the 1. And then you have 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Then you have 2 times 5 is 10, so you put the 0, and you carry the 1. Then, once you're done with all the multiplication, that's when you account for the decimal. In the top, we have 2 numbers behind the decimal, 2 and 5. So we need to have 2 numbers behind the decimal here. So it is 10.5. And then remember, don't lose your negative. Negative 10.5. Your negative just tacks back on at the end. And there is your answer. All right. Question 4. What is the product of negative 1 and negative 8? So here's the rule of multiplying by negatives. If both numbers are positive, if you have a positive times a positive, that makes a positive. If the first number is positive and the second number is negative, you end up with a negative. If the first number is negative and the second number is a positive, you end up with a negative. And if both numbers are negative, you end up with a positive. So if both numbers have the same sign, whether that's both positive or both negative, then you will end up with a positive. If the two numbers have different signs, whether the first one's negative and the second one isn't, or the second one's negative and the first one isn't, then you'll end up with a negative number. So we know this answer is going to be positive. I almost said negative. It's positive. So then, after that, just comes down to what is 1 times 8. 1 times 8 is 8. Done. Question 5. What is the value of negative 2 times 3 over 5? Multiplying a number by a fraction. We went over this, I believe, in the the EE problems. All you're going to do here is you're going to divide each side. I'm sorry, not divide each side. You're going to take the whole number, you're going to put it over 1. Put it over 1. That indicates it's a whole number. Take the whole number, put it over 1. Now you can just multiply across like a regular fraction. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. And 1 times 5 is 5. So it is negative 6 over 5. Do we have that answer somewhere here? We do. It's answer D. Simple as that. An expression is shown. What is the value of this expression? All right, So here you're just going to take it one step at a time. One step at a time. So multiply your first two fractions first. 3 times 3 over negative 2 times negative 4 over 3. So 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. Over negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. Note that this negative and this negative will cancel each other out, so this is no longer negative. This answer is, at present, 12 over 6. Then you're going to multiply this by the last remaining fraction, negative 1 over 2. 12 times negative 1 is negative 12, over 6 times 2, which is 12. The negative will stay out front because there's only one of it. And 12 divided by 12, anything over itself, is just 1. So the answer you're looking for is negative 1. All right, question 7. Which expression is equivalent to negative 2 over 3? So this is a negative 2/3. Is it A, 2/3? No, that's positive 2/3. B, 2 over negative 3. Ooh, sit on that one. C, negative 2 over negative 3. What happens with these two negatives? They cancel out, make positives. So that would just be positive 2/3, which we already know is wrong. Or D, negative, parentheses, negative 2/3. That is unhelpful because these two negatives will cancel each other out and make positives. So the only thing we have left is B. All you did realistically was move the negative from the numerator to the denominator, which ultimately changes nothing. Changes nothing. All right, so that's going to do it for this standard. We'll be back with standard NS3 soon. Well, until then, if you have any questions, let me know. And good luck on the OST.